members. Look at your family members if you see them. I need you to keep looking at them. I need you to keep looking at them. Keep looking at them. Keep looking at them. All right, I need you to point at them. I need you to take your finger and point at them. And I want you to say with me, I will survive the real world. I want you to do it one more time. Say, I will survive the real world. American television writer and novelist Suzanne Collins wrote a young adult novel in 2008 that was critically acclaimed and received a lot of attention and awards. This novel would later go on to be named one of Publishers Weekly's best books of the year in 2008 and become the New York Times notable children's book of 2008 as well. A film adaptation co-written and co-produced by Collins herself and directed by Gary Ross was released worldwide on March 23rd, 2012. And by the time the movie for the book was released, the book had been on USA Today's best-selling book list for 135 consecutive weeks. The book is written in the voice of a 16-year-old girl named Katniss Everdeen, who lives in a post-apocalyptic world in the country of Panem, which was once known as North America. This nation of Panem consists of a wealthy capital surrounded by 12 poor districts. As a punishment for a previous rebellion against the capital by the districts, Panem has adopted a tradition where an annual lottery would take place in which one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 from each of the 12 districts surrounding the capital to compete in a televised to-the-death battle simply known as the Hunger Games. In the book, we find our main character, Katniss Everdeen, present during the lottery process, along with all the other children between the ages of 12 and 18 in District 12. As the lottery begins, the first name chosen to represent District 12 in the Hunger Games is Primrose Everdeen. Primrose is the youngest sister of our main character, Katniss, and out of fear for her sister's life, Katniss volunteers to take place in the Hunger Games. The second name pulled from the lottery to represent District 12 is Peter Maylock, who is the son of a baker whom Katniss knows from school. Once selected, Katniss and Peter then are taken to the Capitol, where they meet Mr. Abernathy, who instructs them and gives advice on how to survive the Hunger Games. He makes mention that it is important to rely on your strengths and gain audience support, which can be crucial for the survival of the Hunger Games. Now, many of you are probably wondering what the correlation is between the Hunger Games and graduation. I'm glad you asked. As we celebrate the completion of a milestone, all of you have been selected to compete in the Hunger Games, better known as the real world. Now, I'm not up here telling you that the real world is exactly like the Hunger Games. However, it is hard not to compare the two based upon the level of competition and the current economic conditions facing our country. With roughly 12.5 million Americans who remain unemployed, 41.3 of which have been unemployed for at least the last 6 months, how can we not compare? When college students, on average, are graduating with $26,000 worth of debt, how can we not compare? When these students are graduating and taking jobs at places they could have worked at without a college degree, jobs that do not use the skills that were learned through major and minor studies, it is hard not to say that we all are participating in the Hunger Games. When over 1 million college graduates this year, not only from Howard, but all across the country, are fighting and competing for the same jobs, the same internships, and the same opportunities, how do we not compare? Which leaves the question, how do we survive the Hunger Games?